Oil traveling by rail is getting the attention of emergency responders all across the country.
As we reported last night, several disasters last year caused the federal government to place stricter regulations on the transport of crude oil produced in North Dakota. That oil travels thousands of miles to refineries here in Louisiana. According to one government report, the concern is that this oil is more flammable and ships in outdated train cars. Despite that, state officials and train companies aren't saying whether it passes through Acadiana. Emergency responders in Iberia Parish say they've seen crude oil trains in the parish and traveling through neighborhoods, businesses, and even past the courthouse.
Our Carrie Beal gets answers tonight from Iberia Parish officials about how they're preparing without much information.
Iberia Parish emergency responders know how to handle emergency situations. Like the multi-chem plant explosion in 2011, it usually takes a collection of agencies working together.
The initial response would be the responsibility of Iberia Parish, the government, Iberia Parish Sheriff's Office, and the Iberia Parish Fire District, or the City of New Iberia Fire Department if it was within the city limits of City of New Iberia.
Prescott Marshall is the Homeland Security Director in Iberia Parish. Officials knew what chemicals was stored at the multi-chem plant, but now they're preparing for another potential threat. Train derailments carrying more combustible crude oil.
It has a lot more flammable compounds and puts off flammable gases than a normal crude oil. So you've got a greater fire risk, a greater risk of ignition and fire than you have with crude oil.
Marshall admits they have no idea how much or when crude oil passes through Iberia Parish by rail.
Which is part of why we thought, we discussed it and we said, well, we're going to react to every train the same way anyway.
One of the first responses, determine what is inside the train cars. Marshall says responders always talk with the train engineer. But before they even get that far, there's another way.
Now, for anyone interested in looking at what hazardous material is traveling through their area, you can actually look it up on an app. It's called ERG 2012, and you can type in the identification number or the title that's listed on the cart.
For a crude oil explosion, emergency responders say they will use this foam. Rather than working like water, which can actually make the fire worse, this foam smothers the flames.
What it does is it's hydrocarbons, and what they do, it sits in and it breaks up the levels. It takes the vapor off of the liquid, and what it does is it actually stops it from burning.
Fire Chief Bonin says state police are also notified if there is any sort of rail explosion or derailment. Once state police arrive, they take over command and secure the area. In Iberia Parish, Carrie Beal, KTC TV3.
And the location of emergency response office in Iberia Parish is another concern for officials. It's located in the basement of the Iberia Parish Courthouse, which is just feet away from train tracks. Prescott Marshall says they hope to move their location before the end of this year.